Leon here this afternoon, bringing you a reading out of his Christmas book, The Adventures of Leon the Poodle and Giuseppe the Elf. Me. Leon here. The craziest thing happened to me the other day. I was out cruising around on my dirt bike, kicking up rooster tails and popping wheelies, when I found this little guy Giuseppe wandering the streets. Yes, of course, I was wearing a helmet. I can't believe you would even ask. Geez, you sound just like my foster mom. I just didn't want the helmet to mess up my hair for this photo opportunity. Anyway, he says he's an elf. I'm not sure what that means, but his facial expressions are a little creepy. In the spirit of Christmas, I picked him up anyway. Now let me tell you about the adventures that I had with Giuseppe. I figured I should see if I could help him, because it's the holidays after all, and we should help others, right? So I took the little dude back to my crib to warm up and get some food in his belly. There we were, chatting it up about the big red guy he works for and how his job as an elf is to keep track of us for Santa. I don't know about you, but it sounds a lot like Big Brother's watching over us. Kinda creepy. As I'm listening intently to him ramble on about himself, he mentions that he likes to be mischievous and sometimes reckless. Well, stop the presses. If you didn't know, Reckless is my middle name. Who has time to just sit here in this wheel well chatting? It's time to go be reckless! Let the reckless begin. The elf said that he liked recklessness. I thought there was only one thing we should do. That's right, hop in my 71 Grabber Blue Ford Torino 429 Cobra Jet and go cruising for ladies. You all know I love the ladies, and there's no better way to pick one up than revving the engine and smoking the tires in this sweet ride. It always helps to have a wingman too. Giuseppe liked the idea and told me if I put on a hat like his, the ladies would flock to me. Man, you should have seen the patch of rubber we laid when we peeled out of there. You may find it hard to believe, but I've had my eye on a certain lady. She just seemed to be out of my league. I figured since I was cruising around with my wingman Giuseppe that I could finally try and win her over. Get this, she even wanted to hang out with me. We had a great day just playing on the side-by-side and hanging out on the tractor. It wasn't long before I noticed that sneaky little elf trying to steal my love. Look at him, laying on her all cozy like while we're hanging out on the tractor. That cocky little glare he gave me from the cup holder was more than I could bear. Mark my words, I will not be made a fool of, especially in front of a lady that I'm trying to win over. Something needed to be done about this little backstabbing elf. My first attempt at getting rid of Giuseppe was very unsuccessful. I was just going to throw him away, literally, like as in tossing him away in the garbage like yesterday's trash. I guess I underestimated him because he just kept climbing out of the garbage can. I needed to go back to the drawing board and figure out a better way to get rid of the little backstabber. No elf in the history of elves has or ever will make a fool of me, Leon the Poodle. My next attempt at getting rid of Giuseppe was a very humiliating one. I had this great idea to bury the little elf in a stack of Pirelli race slicks. Somehow, I kept getting stuck in the middle of the tires myself and had to get free from the pile over and over. Thanks to the poodle gods, I have great jumping ability and I was able to get out each time. I tell you, it was like this darn elf knew my plan and just kept making a fool of me. He was one step ahead of me the entire time. The rage was building inside of me and I was starting to see red. It was time to take more drastic measures. I will not fail at my next attempt. This, I promise you. As they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. Well, times couldn't get more desperate than this. I couldn't let Giuseppe continue to make a fool of me. My blood was boiling and I lost it. The crazy Leon came out. I just couldn't hold him back any longer. With all the fierceness within my little body, I concocted the best plan to get rid of the little backstabber once and for all. I couldn't think of a better way to get rid of Giuseppe than to saw him into pieces with my chainsaw. So there I was, all proud of myself for a plan well executed and gloating as I stood by my trusty chainsaw. Needless to say, soon after performing my glorious victory dance, I started feeling guilty. Good Lord, what had I done? I know better than to unleash my demons. I had to fix this mistake. I'm clearly no veterinarian, but elves are animals, aren't they? To be honest with you, I think Giuseppe had a heart attack before I even started my chainsaw. Saving my little buddy started with CPR. Boy, oh boy, let me tell you, CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, is really, really hard to do. Like, super duper pooper scooper hard. I wasn't sure how long I could keep it up, and I'm in great shape because, I work out. Even with all of my vigorous efforts, Giuseppe wasn't coming back to life. I tried elevating him on a piece of wood. I tried placing him on a cold cement floor. I even tried giving him green eggs and ham. I tried everything within my knowledge to save this little dude. Just when I was ready to call it EOEW, end of Elf Watch, there was movement. After saving Giuseppe's life, he and I agreed that we wouldn't ever let a lady come between us again. We were bros, thick as thieves, back to recklessly seeking mischief and adventure. I felt awful about unleashing my demons on him, so I hesitantly let him call the next shots. Reluctantly, I let him drive because he was really stoked when hopping on the quad. I should have known it was going to get wild when he insisted on wearing a helmet. In retrospect, I'm not sure him driving was a fair trade. Do you see the worry on my face? I started planning my safe escape, since things were getting crazy, and I'm pretty sure I should have had a helmet on too. My guilt seems to have put me in a very dangerous situation. This isn't the kind of reckless I was thinking of when we first met. And he is not a good driver. Phew, saved again. Fortunately for me, the Poodle gods had my back this time too. It turned out that the quad didn't have any gas, so we couldn't take it out. Giuseppe said we could take the tractor instead, if it had fuel. I didn't appreciate the sarcasm in his statement, but I said, that's fine, and hopped on to drive. Then Giuseppe accused me of being under the influence. I mean, do I look under the influence to you? Under the influence of what? Dog water? He has some nerve. Look at him trying to drive all hunched over, not even able to stay awake. Who's under the influence here? We finally came up with a compromise. I would run the steering wheel and he would shift gears. With that, off we went to begin our mission. Once Giuseppe and I compromised on who was operating the tractor, we headed out to find a Christmas tree and wreath. Teamwork is more effective when you work together. Giuseppe and I vowed never to work against one another again. Once we picked out the perfect tree and wreath, Giuseppe drove us back home. Look at the little guy back there on the wheel, driving like a champ. The ride was herky-jerky at first while Giuseppe got used to the gearing, so I rode in the bucket to keep the tree from falling off. Don't mind my puppuccino. It was pretty chilly out, and we took our time finding the right tree. I even wore my hat to keep warm. I wasn't trying to pick up ladies when I put it on either. We've already seen what trouble that can get you in. Anyway, we're really in the Christmas spirit now. Giuseppe told me Santa loves snuggling up by the fire. When he told me that, I knew where we'd stop next. It was off to the old red barn to get some wood. What Christmas would be complete without a warm, roaring fire in the fireplace? Not a single one. So the elf and I spent the day splitting wood with the log splitter and moving it with my workhorse, Massey Ferguson. Out of nowhere, my eyes filled with red and my demons tried to make me put Giuseppe on the log splitter with the next log. I had to walk away and shake it off. I didn't want to hurt the little guy. He's a cool dude. And he didn't do anything to deserve being split in two. Once I was able to tuck my demons away, we finished stacking wood and left for our next adventure. Hopefully we weren't too sore after moving all the wood for Santa.
Hi everybody, it's me, Leon. And I thought instead of my foster mom reading from my book, The Adventures of Leon the Poodle and Giuseppe the Elf, that I would read it to you since this is the last reading. So here we go. Rather abruptly, Giuseppe looked at his watch and started to panic. He said he had someplace important to be and asked me if I wanted to join him. He hopped on the motorcycle and told me if I didn't leave right now, we'd never make it on time. The sense of urgency he exuded as he revved the engine had me intrigued. What could be so darn important? I had to find out what it was, so I jumped on the back of the bike. He drove so fast, He could barely hold on to twist the throttle. The anticipation of our next destination was more than I could take, but I had no choice. I had to wait to find out where we were headed. We rode the motorcycle through the night and arrived in early morning. What an amazing surprise to be had. Wouldn't you know it, the little elf took me to meet his boss. Boy, did I have quite the conversation with Santa about Giuseppe. First things first, I told him I was sorry for trying to kill his employee. Then he asked me what I wanted for Christmas. Other than a forever home of my own, I didn't want much. I wanted other dogs to get the chances I was given, to feel important, and for someone to say to them, "You matter." I want other dogs to feel safe in their homes, to be themselves and to be with families who won't give up on them when things aren't perfect. I want more dogs to get the chances that I did. I want there to be more good people out there for dogs like me. That's what I want for Christmas. Well, that's the end of the book. I hope that you enjoyed it. I really am happy if you do. It kind of made me happy. Thank you.